Alrighty, so this is our new project. We're going to start off by creating a new document, and that document will be called Starship SN20. Starship SN-20. Okay, so as soon as we begin on this, there is one thing that I wanted to start off, and that's to create some concentric rings that will be made so that we can stack them up and create our booster and a rocket and everything else. So we're going to be making this on a 1:100 scale. So the dimensions from this one, from the older model, which was the SN15, which was just a pencil topper, this is going to be a little bit different. It will be used for more testing, maybe for different reasons. So what I want you to do is we're going to start doing this in a metric system. So what you want to do is by clicking here on this menu button, the triple lines, or I've heard people call it hamburger button, please change the workspace units from inches to centimeters. So everything that we're going to do in this document will be defaulted to centimeters. So if we just type in 9, you don't have to type in cm or in for inches. Everything's just going to be centimeters by default. So I'm going to hit the check mark. And what I'm going to do is I will hide both the front and the top. No, sorry, the right side. We're going to leave the top by itself. And we're going to start sketching there. So create your first sketch on the top view and click on the top view so that we have better orientation of the circle that we're going to make. So click on circle, start at the origin, and we're going to put the dimension by clicking on the dimension button. So if you can tell, this is not, this is the first time that I'm not actually typing in the dimension directly. So I'm going to click here on the outside edge, and usually you try to put your dimensions outside, not in the inside. I know it looks pretty cool having both arrows in the inside, but it could get a little confusing if you have too many dimensions in the outside. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the dimension outside, and it's like one arrow at an angle. This is called a leader line. Okay, so we want to make this model using parametric constraints. What that means is using one dimension, we can change everything. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to type in a variable, and then we're going to go ahead and define that variable. So this variable we're going to call hashtag F diameter. So that's going to stand for fuselage diameter. So now that we know what the outside is, that's going to be our maximum footprint from left to right. We're going to make this hollow, but we can worry about that later. This is a new variable, so I'm going to go ahead and click here to let OnShape know that we are defining a new variable. We're going to type in right here 9. So you can see how everything's just defaulted to centimeter. If I press enter, we're going to get this in centimeters. If I press enter again, it goes back to the menu. If I press enter again, it finishes dimensioning my circle. So this is a little window that says that we're still on sketch number 1. And this just recently popped up. So I do have a variable that's called F diameter, and it's 9 inches. So if I ever want to change my 9 inches to something else, I can just go ahead and double click here, and I can change, oh no, it was 0.5 instead of 9, and I just press enter, and it's going to make my circle like even smaller. There it is. There's a real teeny tiny circle that's 0.5. So I'm going to change this back to 9 because that's the dimension that we want. 9, enter, enter. Okay, there it is. So there's my 9 centimeter circle. So that's the first step. The second step that we want to do is we want to make another circle. We're going to go back to sketch. Okay, we're back in sketch 1. Please do not make a new sketch. This is the same sketch that we were working on before, but we're just going to add more information to it. So I'm going to make a centered circle from the same center as before. Okay. Now let's go ahead and dimension this. And we're going to use the same outer dimension minus the thickness that comes from the side. So I'm going to start with hashtag. As soon as I start with the hashtag, it knows the variables that I will be using. I can just click on this one so that I don't misspelling it, and then I end up creating new variables by mistake. So it's going to be the F diameter, so which is 9 centimeters, and then we're going to subtract 2 thicknesses. And the reason we subtract 2 thicknesses is because I want to know what the thickness of this wall is, but the inner circle has to the left and to the right that thickness. So I want to subtract 2 thicknesses, so it's 2 times, let's call the next variable hashtag thickness. All right, now let me click on new variable, and it's going to ask me, well, how big is that thickness? Let's go ahead and define that as like 0.4, just for now, and then we can change that later. So 0.4, enter. Okay, so it's a pretty sizable. We wouldn't have a rocket with a wall with that thickness. That would just be too heavy for the rocket. So the walls of the rocket are much thinner, and they do have some other things inside the rocket to keep it sturdy. Okay, so this is what we have: 2 concentric circles, one that is F diameter, and the other one is dimensioned by F diameter minus 2 times the thickness. I'm going to finish my sketch number 1, and I will go ahead and extrude. So if you click on extrude, please click right here on the outside of the ring. Do not click in the inside, click on the outside right here. Not outside, but in between both circles. If you see, we're going to get a ring, all right? And the depth will be 1.83. So that dimension is going to be pretty fixed. So we're not going to be changing that anytime soon. So let's hit the check mark. Okay, there's a ring. So we have 1 ring made. I can call this, right click, rename it. We're going to rename it to steel ring. Okay, and we're also going to rename it right here where it says part 1. So right click right here and rename it steel ring. Okay, so we call this in 2 different places. I will hide the top view now, and I will hide the origin. Okay, so that's all we have right now, just the steel ring, and I'm going to start with an assembly. Now, this is a different model that we haven't worked with before. So what I'm going to do right here is I need to put all the parts that I've created, and then after I create all these parts, then I can start putting these together. So we'll begin by inserting the steel ring. So I'm going to put the first steel ring just down right here. I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to put another steel ring here on the top. And I'm going to put a couple in a few moments. But first, I wanted you to see how I can just left click and drag. And this is going to move anywhere I want. And so is this one, because they're not constrained. So what I want to do with the first ring is I want to right click it. And I want to click on fix. And when you click on fix, this thing's not going to move anymore. It actually shows you like the do not symbol. And you can also see it here on the left hand side. it says that the part is fixed. So this part will not move, the part on top will move. So what I need to do is I need to start fixing, but not like what I don't want to do is I don't want to move this and then just carefully put this one on top of another one. That would take me so long. So instead we have these features on top, which are mates. There's this one called Fasten Mate that if I click it, you can choose. So it's really easy to do. If I click on the edge, please click on the edge. Do not click like on this cylinder area because you're selecting both top and bottom lines. Also, what I don't want you to click is I don't want you to click where you have like two circles. So I'm just gonna choose, let me zoom out. Watch this. One solid edge, either the top outer or the top inner. So I'm gonna click on one edge and then I'm gonna click on the bottom edge. When I do that, it places it exactly on top of my previous ring. So I can just click on the check mark. I can click on the Fasten Mate. If I try to move this one, it's not gonna move anymore. So that's what I'm gonna end up doing. I'm gonna insert 3 more rings. Steel ring 1, steel ring 2, steel ring number 3. Okay, check. I'm gonna do a Fasten Mate. Again, please watch carefully. It's just the edge to the bottom edge of the ring on top. Check mark. Let's do that again. Bottom edge, bottom edge. Or I should have said top edge on that one. So check mark. One more. Edge to edge. So once I have that done, click on the check mark, try to move the top ring. These things are not moving whatsoever. So that's beautiful. So we're gonna have to do 20. As you've seen, I've done 5. So I need these. So let me just click on the X here. And what I could do is I can do a multiple select. You know what? Let me just get rid of that origin. It's just hanging out there for no reason. Okay, selected, Control C, that's Control Copy. I'm gonna click somewhere else, Control V. All right, I'm gonna do Control V again, and wherever you put the mouse, that's where it's gonna put it. Did you see that? Super easy. I'm gonna do another Fasten Mate. Again, please choose the edge to the bottom edge. Let's see, did it do it? Yes. Then just click on the check mark and it's gonna bring the rest of the rings over here. So let's do it one more time. Here we go. Oh, edge to edge. So it looks like it just moves one ring. You can click on solve to see the full assembly. It's like, yep, that's what I want. So check mark. Let's do it one more time. Edge. You might have to zoom in so you're making sure that you're clicking on one edge and then on the other edge, and then the check mark. So now we have a total of 20 rings. And if you want to see here on the left-hand side, it goes from ring 1 all the way down to ring 20. And all of those are fastened, no errors, no mistakes. So they seem to be all right. I try to move some of these and they're not moving, of course, because they are fully constrained. So I will go ahead and rename this as the fuselage assembly. Okay, and there we go. So that is the assembly. This is starting with a steel ring, and then we started putting it together to create our rocket. That's it for now.